Bill Lee signed the executive order that allowed governing bodies to meet remotely. That was set to expire on May 8th. Extended that till the end of June. So we're meeting again remotely. We've got Rick Hardesty, Irene Pitts McDonald, Richard Stone, Rick LaLance, Craig Tyndall, Darren Gore, Adam Tucker, Lori Williams, Gina Dix, Daphne Anderson, Jackie Whitaker, Philip Lim, and Chris Barnes on board, along with myself. And a reminder that all votes will be roll call votes. Okay. So I'll let you have it, Mr. Hardesty.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, feeling well, staying safe. We'll open the meeting. The first thing I'll do is entertain a motion to accept the minutes from our last meeting.
Oh, Rick, before you do that, I'd like to make a comment on what was in the minutes about me entering the meeting. I didn't get the right ID and password in time.
Correct.
So that's why. So I just wanted to put that explanation out there that I don't know why it was said that I entered the meeting at that time, but anyway, I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, and I think there was some conversation during our meeting about you being given the wrong information and would be joining us.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't hear that. I just saw that in the minutes and I thought, well, I didn't know why that was. So,
Miss Irene is primarily there to show that if there had been a vote prior to that you were not on the vote, and so showing that you entered the meeting, then going forward, then we knew that all the votes for everybody was on board to vote.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said,
I'm fine.
Yeah, we did discuss the fact that there was some difficulty with you getting on and would be joining us. So that was addressed in the conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'll move through minutes.
Who made the motion?
Rick LaLance, Mr. LaLance.
Okay.
I second it.
All in favor?
I'll call roll. Ms. Pitts McDonald,
Aye.
Mr. Stone,
Aye.
Mr. LaLance,
Aye.
and Chairman Hardesty.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Get back here. You need to be. Financials.
I'll start with the comparative balance sheet for April 2020-2019 comparison. The first thing that I'd like to explain is under other property and investment, the sinking fund and other special funds, those were both zero. We closed out the bank accounts for those due to closing and paying off the bonds, and those funds were transferred to our general fund. Next, under the deferred debits, for the clearing accounts, there was a significant increase in that amount, and that was due to the non-productive labor associated with the crews not working during the COVID-19 rotating shifts, 1 week on and 1 week off. Next, I'd like to look at the long-term debt, which is our bonds and our debt premium and discount, which we, as I stated, we did pay those off, and we went ahead and amortized the balance of the deferred premium and debt to bring that to zero since the bonds were paid in full. The accounts payable decrease of 1.8 million, and that was where we had paid more toward our prepayment of our TVA power bill this April 2020 compared to April 2019. And then the other deferred credits and is the decrease for the inflows of resources associated with our pension for $879,000. Our total assets of April 2020 is just slightly over $223 million. Are there any questions on the balance sheet? Moving on to the revenue and expense statement. The electric sales revenue, our sales were down approximately $1.2 million. We have looked at this due to we looked at our top 15 commercial industries. Most of their bills were down. Approximately 19% was the average. And the majority of that is the sales revenue decrease is due to those large commercial and industrial customers. We did reach out to each one of them to look to see what, analyzed and looked at their usage and what they're going forward. And we feel like most of them are back to normal as far as production in their shifts and everything. Moving on, the next thing I was going to look at. Go ahead.
What was the increase in other electric revenue? I mean, I'm sorry, rent for electrical property went up 90%.
We recorded the pole attachments for 2019 and where we had billed those, and we recorded that income during April.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the other, under the miscellaneous service revenue, that amount was down about $67,000. That the biggest contributor for that was that we did not disconnect for the month of April, so we did not have those fees. And also our connection fees and temporaries were down. So our revenue from that was the reason why that is down.
Okay.
Let's see, there's something else. Then going to the operating expenses, one of the major increases for those was the administrative and general expenses. And that amount was up due, there was we spent about $70,000 in computers, equipment, and stuff for this time to be able to help people be able to work remotely and providing laptops. And then there were some computer costs, software costs that were associated with those computers. And then we had additional expenses for engineering consultants that were in a work order that we closed this month, expensing that to outside services of approximately $100,000. So that was the reason why those administrative and general expenses were up for the month. And going on to then the under income, the other income, we only received $6,982 in interest income for the month, and that was due to TVA and First Horizon, our interest rates being tied to the federal funds rate, which was approximately close to zero for the month. And that's why we did not receive more than that for interest expense income for the month of April. And in the debt expense, for the month of April, we have the $8,468 that was expensed, and the $14,000 of the premium amortization, the premium on the debt that we did record because the debt was paid off during April.
Okay.
Year to date, everything there weren't much as far as variances for year to date. Are there any questions on the revenue and expense statement?
No.
All right, moving on to statistical data. As of April 2020, we had 67,859 customers for an increase of 3.09 over April 2019. Moving to the disbursements and transfers for the month, the total was $15,664,187.93. And reviewing the accounts payable, the check registers, the total that we paid to the Bank of New York Mellon for the bonds was total was $4,213,128.48, which is the reason that the disbursements were a little higher than normal for the month. Any questions on the disbursements? All right, moving on to the uncollectibles. For the month of April 2020, we had 124 accounts that we deemed uncollectible for a total of $14,945.75. Of these, there were 7 accounts that were over $300, and these were mainly the winter bills. Their customers were cut off and didn't pay their final bill there. We did have one commercial bankruptcy that was included, but as soon as we read the bad debt report, we received the payment from the bankruptcy, so that one was paid the same day that we deemed it as uncollectible.
Was that the Hancock Fabric?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And through April 2020, our net bad debt expense for the year to date is $53,656.07, or 0.0378% of sales. Does anybody have any questions over the financials?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Safety and loss. First of all, let me say congratulations. I saw the newsletter where we won an award. That's very well done. PD, are you going to do the safety report?
I will, yes, sir. We had no incidents to report for the month, and we just had the one injury back in March. So everything looks good on the safety front, and guys are doing a really good job of exercising, doing their tailgates and exercising caution, and so everything's good there. No new incidents to report. I'll go ahead and
Material purchases.
Under 25,000, I approved $124,770.63, and then which is down from normal. We did have a couple of purchases between 25 and 50 for some cable and direct buried pole black. 71,702.29, and we did ramp up a lot of transformers, $167,714 that were purchased under the TVA contract. So total for the month was $364,186.92. I'll go to the fuel cost. Fuel cost for June is 1.427 cents for standard service, 1.201 for large manufacturing, and 1.29 for large general. It's about 25% lower than the 3-year average for June, and this is due to the pandemic impacts and mild weather, which caused very, very low sales for the month of April. They had a footnote that April was the lowest fuel cost expense since the inception of the fuel costs in October of 2006, but June is lower than April. So those numbers are extremely low, and that should help our customers that are impacted by the pandemic, and also as we get into the summer bills where they're going to rise considerably.
You want to go on with your general manager report?
I will, thank you. We had one outage, not real significant, but on Memorial Day, about 4 a.m, got a call from the police department about a wreck on East Castle at Middle Tennessee Boulevard, and the car had hit a high voltage switching cabinet and was actually resting on top of it. And we had to take about 100 customers out for about 2 hours to get that fixed. The driver left the scene on foot, so he just abandoned his car. At 4 a.m, I can only imagine why he hit it. I also wanted to recognize our Energy Right, Katie McKee. You know, while many families are stuck inside during this COVID-19 pandemic, TVA Energy Right offered to send 2,000 free Kids Energy mini kits based on the popular I Spy Energy workshop kits to the Valley residents. They asked if we could promote this through social media, and Katie did a really good job, and Kelly, that also works with our social media, and promoted this. And as of May the 5th, 99 LPCs had ordered 1,760 kits, and we had the third highest total. We had 126, Pulaski had 127, and Volunteer had 160. So did a really good job promoting that and getting these out for kids, something to do during this pandemic. So congratulations to them. We had to cancel Earth Day, but we still wanted to for it not go unnoticed. And the week leading up to Earth Day, we've made posts every day on our social media about the national event. And students who had already completed their posters for the Earth Day poster contest, we allowed them to submit them. We didn't judge them, but we recognized each student on social media and mailed them a participation certificate and a $25 gift card that was actually sponsored by Middle Tennessee Electric. We also had a career day planned for Siegel Elementary that was canceled, and then they asked if we could do something virtually for them. So Kelly did videos of several employees, and we submitted that video for them to use for that for the career day. Participating were Katie McKee, our energy advisor, Kelly Matthews, our communications coordinator, Autumn Faree, our new engineer, and Daniel Burks, one of the linemen, did a video for his job. We mentioned last month about a couple of new programs that TVA had implemented, the Back to Business Credit Program for our B, C, and D customers. That's our extreme. We have 4 of them. This was designed to give them some credits for businesses that were shut down during part of the month. For instance, they set a high peak, then they didn't operate for the full month. So they're going to receive some credits on going forward for up to 6 months. We submitted Rich Products and MTSU to the program. MTSU, obviously, when they let students go home, their load dropped considerably. And then Rich's had to close for a week in April due to a positive, an employee testing positive. So they had to shut down and re-clean. So those 2 will get some credits. Our other 2, General Amazon, are still going full steam. And we think they'll all be back up going forward. And then the community care program that the TVA implemented, where they would match some funds for COVID-related issues. And we did a $6,000 match with them using our community helpers money that we send to them, and our Magic Dollar program, I'm sorry, that we send to community helpers to administer. And so we got a $12,000 donation there to help people with their utility bills for during this COVID period. Also kind of wanted to touch base on a couple of COVID related items. We reopened our lobby Monday a week ago, and then we as a staff, we're going to resume disconnects in June. We suspended those back from mid-March until we're still currently suspended those. That's consistent with what most all the other LPCs have been doing. I actually got results from a peer survey on COVID policies late yesterday evening, and 87% of the LPCs are resuming collections and disconnects, and by the end of June for residential, 96% are resuming collections and disconnects for non-residential customers. So most everybody, I was on a manager's call yesterday, most everybody is resuming disconnects during June. But but we're also allowing payment plans to pay back for customers that will, that have been affected by it. And, the disconnects are really a last resort for us. What we're hoping is to work with customers one-on-one to make accommodations for anybody that is facing hardships as a result of the pandemic. And as long as customers will communicate with us and we'll make reasonable accommodations to help them during this time. And like I say, we're looking at allowing a payback period of 3 to 6 months for the balances that they may have accumulated during this COVID period, and while a lot of people are out of work. So the goal is to just get customers to communicate with us, get them set up on some kind of payment plan. But at some point, we've got to go back and resume our collection practices. Our part of this survey, and we participated, but most people are seeing their delinquent accounts about 2 times normal, some 3 times. About 55% of the LPCs are showing about 2 times higher, and then about another 32% showing 3 times or more higher. So we're running about twice what we were same period a year ago on our delinquents. So fortunately, though, on Lori's report, for the year through April, we're only about less than 0.04% in bad debt write-off. So, I mean, obviously, that number will go up, I presume. But so far, we've had an excellent year collecting our bills. And even though we're showing our 30, 60, 90s have climbed during the COVID period, we feel like that we can work with most of these customers and let them catch up over time. And TVA's given us a little backstop if we need it. If it's severe enough not to affect us paying our wholesale bill, they've done a backstop where we could have more time to pay. So anyway, so lobby's open. We're still got people working remotely. A number of people that, as Lori mentioned, the computers we bought, we stood a lot of people up to work from home during this pandemic, which the lobby was closed for about 7 weeks. So, and that's been a great benefit to us. And going forward, it's good to have that option. If we have a crisis, or we can, all of our CSRs can work from home now, or dispatchers can work from home. A lot of the people that are working on this NIC core team to plan the merger of the data for the acquisition with Middle Tennessee Electric, a lot of those are working at home because they just got WebEx is one right after the other every day. So a lot of those are still working from home. So it's working well. And the traffic in the lobby has been relatively slow. I'm sure it'll pick up first of the month, but we haven't seen a whole lot. It's been light. So maybe people have adopted other ways to pay their bill instead of coming down to the office. We hope so. But during the pandemic, they looked at electronic payment means, or through our web portal, or through our mobile app. And so anyway, I think even though the reason we had to do it was not good, it's good that we're set up to work from home if we have a problem, say an ice storm or a tornado or something, so we can instantly pick up a number of people that can take calls. And so I'm glad we were able to stand up. That'll be a benefit going forward. Any questions about what we've done COVID related. We added it late, and I apologize, should have put it in there before, didn't think about it, but we added the budget to a budget we did to the board pack that we presented to the council last Thursday. Initially, the thought was we wouldn't need to do one because of the merger, but as it stretched out, the decision still hasn't been made and announced, so that because this could possibly run into July and the start of a new fiscal year, I think for us to have a budget for the city to present to the state, and then also in case that some reason they don't approve the acquisition. So Lori did that budget and we presented last week. I won't go through it unless y'all want to, but the one thing that you might notice in there's no transfer of taxes to the city, no transfer of funds. They had not included it in theirs, so so we didn't need to show it in ours as well because they normally offset each other. So, any questions? Anybody have anything on the budget that they looked at that they wanted to discuss?
When will the council approve this?
The budget?
Yes.
Craig?
Typically around the first week of June is when we'll normally have first reading, but we have to have it done by the end of June.
Right.
Thank you.
I was kind of thinking, with June 4th, was that the date?
June
Yeah,
4th.
that's right.
That's our first public hearing.
Okay. And, we're still hoping for a decision from TVA and hopefully that'll come before the end of the fiscal year. Okay. That's all I've got, Mr. Hardesty.
Thank you very much, PD. Gina?
Oh, I was going to say, Gina's going to update y'all on our COVID related issues related to our employees.
Okay.
Good morning. It's
Good
good to
morning.
see everyone, even though it's electronically. In your board packet, we do have one step change. Mr. Allen, serviceman lineman, will be moving to the second period, second year, effective June 10th. He's doing a great job. So that is for your information as well.
Okay.
Just to add to what PD was already sharing about the COVID updates, I'm not sure if we mentioned last month when we talked about the things we were doing regarding the pandemic, but Murfreesboro Electric is designated as part of the critical infrastructure sector by the Department of Homeland Security, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Therefore, employees are considered essential for ensuring the continuity of functions critical to public health and safety, as well as economic and national security. So that's an agency that we've been doing training with, and they have weekly or bi-weekly conference calls that we participate on. So we are definitely participating in additional COVID training sessions just so we can make sure that employees are as safe as they can be, so that the linemen are protected as well in case there's an emergency or a tornado or anything like that. So we have adequate staff available. We continue the efforts that we shared with you last month that we were doing. We've added some additional measures that we're doing, especially now that the lobby is reopened and most of the employees are working on site again. Last board meeting, we reported that we had 6 possible cases where employees were either off self-quarantining or medical providers had them quarantined or they were tested. All were negative. Since then, we've had 2 that were possible cases. One of them came back negative and the other one we're waiting on the results. So we're hoping that all these measures we've been taking, the employees have been doing a great job of social distancing. We are asking employees to wear masks as well if they're going to be away from their workstation or closer than 6 feet to someone. We did get the plexiglass protective installed for the front CSRs before the lobby opened, which was wonderful as well. We have 4 employees that have requested some leave under the new Families First leave for childcare. And we do have 4 employees who have requested medical accommodations to work remotely that we're working with. So, so far, so good as far as the measures we're taking. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. City of Murfreesboro projects.
Hello, it's good to see you all. Mr. Chairman, board members, Mr. General Manager, fellow colleagues. Before you is a list of project and just as a quick item, I'm gonna go line by line so that we will not kind of get dense around it too much. Jones Boulevard, they had about 10 more right-of-way easement acquisition. When that's complete, we should be able to finalize our design. The Old Folk maintenance building is still in progress, waiting for construction to go on. It's basically waiting for the contractor that's doing the work for the city. And Rocker Lane, as of last meeting, I was informed by Chris Griffin that it's still on the budget. They're looking at probably in the fall before they actually let the contract out. As you might remember, last month I reported that Roger Groups is the one that's been the low bidder for the contract. So right now it's still on the book to proceed. And I just want to let the board know that Rocker Lane, we're kind of watching it closely and working closely with the city contract because in this effort, we'll be taking over 380 homes from Middle Tennessee. I don't know, maybe we're not taking over, but we're going to be owning it. So, and airport terminal do have permanent power now. We're in the process of cleaning up all the temporarily. The project's really gone smoothly. We work pretty closely with Greg McKnight, and Seagull Park is kind of waiting on the city park to move on. So as far as our site, our design has been done. And for those of you who are coming along Thompson Lane, where Robert Ross turning lane, we should be finishing the project first week of June. Basically, you have to relocate 2 poles and also to work in conjunction with MTMC has a circuit that we underbuilt and that we had to de-energize it for us to do our job. If you have been driving along the DeJohnette Lane lately and passing by the runway, you might notice that the 3 wooden pole is gone because Comcast finally have removed their communication cable, and so we were able to remove it. So the airport project is considered complete on the not airport terminal, but it's the airport DeJohnette Lane. So it's really nice right now. So I heard that Ross is flying in. Maybe he can tell me how's the vision look like. So maybe next time I'll talk to him, see whether he liked. Because one of the things that Chad had issue was the height of the pole. So I think we've done a really good job helping the city and cleaning that thing out. So I'm glad to put that behind us. That's all the city project that I have, Mr. Chairman. Any question from anyone on the board and from the staff? Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
Yeah. Thank you again, sir.
Fiber optic strategic report.
Good morning. Well, not much has transpired since last month, really due to the reason that the Groves Fiber crews are still not traveling outside of state, but they do plan to do that in June. So we really hope to anticipate the project being completed in June. There's approximately 1 week of work remaining, and we hope to have that complete by the middle of the month. Per last month's meeting, we talked about the discrepancies in the project cost, and I have done an analysis and have attached it for your review, and I'm willing to discuss that if you would like me to.
Any questions? Okay. Is that all you got?
Quick and simple.
There we go.
Thank you.
You bet. Audit engagement letter.
But due to us still being in existence at June 30th, we will be required by TVA to go ahead and do a formal audit. And I've included the letter from Dempsey Vantrease to do the engagement letter from them. There is, I apologize, a typo in the recommendation. The audit fee for June 30th, 2020 will be $19,750. And I apologize, that was incorrect on the memorandum. But I am asking for board approval to authorize to sign this letter.
So moved.
Who moved?
Somebody move for approval?
I did.
Second.
Richard.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Ms. Pitts McDonald? Mr. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Lance?
Aye.
Chairman Hardesty?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is there anything else to come before the board? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Get a second?
Hey, before we get a second on this, I do want to make sure that Lori, did you see my Wi-Fi went out on me earlier in the meeting? Did you see that I dropped off and back on? I don't know if I was gone for any votes or anything, but I emailed PD right when it happened, so there'd be a record if you need to put that in there, because I know that we got to log our attendance for these Zoom calls for the state. So just want to make sure. Okay, so I got my motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Ms. Pitts McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Lance?
Aye.
Chairman Hardesty?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Our meeting is adjourned. Everyone take care of yourselves, stay well, and we'll see you soon.
You do
Thank
the
you.
same.
Take
Thank
care.
you.